So this next group is not trying to save any whales or bees. They're trying to save you. New Yorkers. So this group also had a real problem because they had me as their advisor, and so they had to overcome that obstacle. So with that, is everybody ready for this? Okay.
Extreme flooding from Hurricane Sandy back in 2012 put almost a fifth of New York City's landmass underwater. This map here shows what areas in New York City will be affected during floods that typically happen during only once in 100 and 500 years. As you can see, that's majority of the New York City's coastline. With the increasing impacts of climate change, this kind of coastal flooding that should happen once a century could happen once every 2 decades. Earlier this year, New York City became the first city in the United States with more than 1 million residents to declare a climate emergency. This was an effort to mobilize local and national responses to the global climate crisis. Along the same lines, there has been a move within the New York City Council to create a new agency just dedicated to climate action. Good morning, everyone. I'm Jenisha Shrestha, and today I'll be briefing you on behalf of my team on the local bill that aims to create the Department of Sustainability and Climate Change in New York City. I'd like to thank our faculty advisor, Dr. Steve Cohen, for his support and guidance, as well as my team managers, Navodita and Daniela, and my entire team for all the hard work over the last 2 semesters. As for my briefing today, I would like to talk to you about why we need this new department, what the department will do, how it will work with other existing agencies, and the resources needed to transition, and finally, what will be different a year from now. The bill that we looked at is primarily an organizational bill that simply repeals the existing Mayor's Office of Sustainability and creates a new Department of Sustainability and Climate Change. So why do we need this new department? There are multiple offices within the city government that are pursuing projects related to sustainability and climate resiliency. So today, we need one overarching entity to coordinate all these efforts. As a department, there would be some distance from the mayor's political operations, so this would insulate the department from any political turnovers. This agency will be led by a highly visible commissioner, who, with more resources, will be able to make climate change mitigation and adaptation a top priority for the city. This new department will work as a systems integrator, a coordinating body for all efforts that are currently being led by offices in the city that are striving to minimize New York City's contributions to climate change from various sectors such as energy, waste, transportation, and buildings. For example, in order to improve the resiliency of the city's extensive built infrastructure along our shorelines, the department will work with other departments such as DOT, Department of Transportation, Department of Buildings, and Department of Design and Construction to look at solutions to strengthen our coastlines by looking at implementing coastal defense structures like seawalls or living shorelines. Similarly, in order to achieve city's sustainability goals of zero waste, it would work with the Department of Sanitation. One of the most important functions that our team came up with for the department is really to engage with the public. We recommend establishing a stronger two-way communication by sourcing information from citizens on climate adaptation gaps that exist on the ground. This would also be a way to address some of the climate justice concerns in the city. So how will this new organization work with existing agencies to increase sustainability and resilience? First, it would have some of their own projects that are transferred over from the existing Office of Sustainability. Next, it would set up an advisory board comprising of high-level experts and stakeholders from various sectors around the city. The sectors range from labor and construction to environmental and coastal protection. The advisory board would meet twice a year and provide recommendations to the commissioner. It would also establish 3 high-profile interagency working groups that will investigate and facilitate the use of innovative technologies. And finally, together they would develop a long-term sustainability plan for the city and aggressively measure progress towards the sustainability goals. These 3 interagency working groups are a vital part of strengthening the department's function. The Working Group on Environmental Sustainability will focus on the mitigations of greenhouse gases and other environmental sustainability goals such as zero waste. The Working Group on Climate Emergency will focus on climate change adaptation, recovery, and resiliency. And the Working Group on Monitoring and Evaluation will measure the city's progress against the sustainability indicators. This working group will also be the primary entity responsible for performance management within the department. This will help improve the transparency and accountability for all the sustainability-related works in the city. We really need to ramp up operations within the first year to transition from an office under the mayor to a new and functioning city department. So what are the resources that we need? Currently, the mayor's office, there are 30 people with an allocated budget of $17 million. By the end of first year, it will transition to 74 staff and a first-year operating budget of $44 million. The new department will also enhance their functions by taking on 3 new projects in addition to the existing 11 projects. By the end of second year, we can expect the size of the new department to even double. The budget for the agency is certainly not as expensive when compared to the city's current expense budget of $92 billion. This is a very insignificant cost to the city if it means that we are ensuring New York City is climate secure and we can protect our citizens. Setting up a new agency requires a lot of work, but we've identified the top 5 milestones to be achieved within the first year of operations. First and foremost is the appointment of the commissioner and the transfer of the Office of Sustainability staff. Second, there will be a public launch event to announce the creation of the new department and to reinforce that sustainability and climate change is a top priority for the city. We will also convene and hold the very first meeting of the 3 working groups and the Sustainability Advisory Board. Hiring of the staff will continue throughout the first year and well into the second year, but we hope to complete the hiring of the first 44 staff so that these new personnel can support the newly formed working groups and provide the support needed to set up the department. And finally, we will publish the very first report on the sustainability metrics under the new commissioner's signature. This will be included in the mayor's management report for the city, which is expected to be published in September of 2020. The first year is really devoted to building the capacity and building the relationships for the long-term success of this newly formed department. So what will be different by January 2021? The Department of Sustainability and Climate Change will be the first municipal-level sustainability agency in the entire United States. We will have a commissioner leading a department with the resources necessary for integrated climate action. And finally, we will have an organization that fosters greater transparency and accountability. I'd like to conclude by saying that this is not just about the reorganization of the existing Mayor's Office of Sustainability, but the establishment of a new department prepared to meet the needs of the current and future residents of New York City. Thank you all for listening, and I'd like to open the floor for any questions.
Hi, Jenisha. Great presentation. I was talking to someone who was working for the city in the past, and she said that there's more power when you're working closer with the mayor, even if it's more political. So I'm wondering, how can you maintain that same power structure, and will they be working with the mayor still?
They would certainly be working with the mayor still, but I think if there's any changeover in the mayor's political positions, that would greatly affect the functions of the current office. So if the mayor at some point didn't want an Office of Sustainability, that could be dissolved. But if we have an agency that is just dedicated to sustainability, that will stay there, and it will be harder to dissolve that agency.
Hi, great presentation. I'm curious about, the agenda of the current Mayor's Office of Sustainability has added equity to, its policy portfolio. And so I'm wondering how moving this out of the Mayor's Office, which benefits from being able to collaborate with, the Mayor's Office of Immigration and these other equity issues, how that would change and how you plan to absorb that with this new agency.
This new agency will still be able to coordinate with the existing office. This is not an independent agency. This is a coordinating agency that coordinates work of all different existing agencies. So the interagency working group that I mentioned includes members that are commissioners of Department of Health, Department of Transportation. So all the other agencies will be working together with this department, and this department will mainly be leading the efforts to achieve the goals for the city. Yeah.
Nice job. So you said you have a budget of 44 million and you want to have a staff of 74 and you expect that staff to double. That seems low to me. Is the budget expected to increase?
Yes.
How is that going to be considered if your staff is
So the
continuing
first
to
year,
increase?
there's only hiring of the 44 staff, and there's actually 14 projects to be implemented within the first year, and within second year, we will have about 150 staff, and the budget will actually also double closer to 90 to 100 million. So we'll increase the budget for the staff as well as projects as we become a fully functioning department over the 2-3 year term.